Okay, this is Algebra 1, Lesson 37. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about inequalities. We've seen these symbols before, but we need to make sure we know that this means not equal to, this means greater than, and this means less than. And all three of these are called inequality symbols. Okay? And we always read them from left to right. So for instance, we say this, we say 4 is not equal to 5. We can say 4 is greater than 2. Remember, the big one, the open goes to the bigger number, the closed goes to the smaller one, and we read from left to right. Now if I could do the same thing and say 2 is less than 4. You always read from left to right. 2 is less than 4. 4 is greater than 2. We can also say this. We can say 4 is greater than or equal to 2 plus 2. This little symbol right here means equal to. So this is a greater than or equal, less than or equal to. And these are also called inequality symbols. Now, inequalities can also be false inequalities, true inequalities, or conditional inequalities. So if we look at page 150 on A, you have 4 plus 2 is less than or equal to 3. Well, this one is false because 6 is not less than or equal to 3. Now let's look at B. You have x plus 2 is greater than or equal to x. I'm going to minus x from both sides. And we get 2 is greater than or equal to 0. And that's a true inequality. There's also what's called a conditional one. And it depends on the value of x. So it depends. If you put 2, it's going to be true. If I put 6, it's going to be false. So it depends on the number we put in. Okay? And we can also say that the number that we replace the variable with that makes the inequality true, we say that number is a solution of the inequality. And we say that the number satisfies the inequality. Now, we use a number that we use it as a replacement for the variable that makes the inequality false, then the number is not a solution. And it does not satisfy the inequality. And sometimes, since there'll be more than one number that will satisfy a given inequality, there's more than one solution. So we call this set of numbers the solution set. So now, what are we going to do with this? Well, let's go back a little bit and look at the number line. If I have a point here and I have a point here, I can say 4 is greater than 1. And when you look at a number line, we can say the number to the right is greater. The number to the left, so 1 is to the left of 4, so 1 is less than 4. 4 is to the right of 1, so 4 is greater than 1. Okay? So basically, any number that's used to describe the physical distance from 0 is called the positive real number. And the opposite of this number is a negative real number. Okay? So, saying that, let's look and see how we combine the number line with an inequality. So let's take this particular x is greater than 2. How would we graph this? We're no longer going to put arrows at the end of our number line. 0. Okay, so it's x is greater than 2. We find 2, we put a circle around it. Because it's greater, so x has to be what? If x is greater, it's going to be to the right, so we would color in, let me get a better marker here. We would color in everything to the right and put an arrow saying it keeps going forever because x is greater. Now, we don't color in our circle because it says x is greater, so it doesn't include the 2. Now, let's look at a different one. It says x is less than or equal to 2. Okay, well, what are we going to do here? Okay, so we circled 2, and x is less than, so x is going to be to the left, and it's going to keep going, and you're going to color in your circle because it includes, this is x is less than or equal. So this is how you would graph that. Let's look at another one. Okay? It says, write an inequality describes a graph. Well, we know it's going to have to do with negative 3, and x is going to be to the left, so x is going to be less than negative 3. Because it's an open circle, it does not include negative 3. Alright, so now do your practice problems. There is no code again for this lesson. And basically, we just have to remember, it's telling x is less than negative 3. Or if x is to the left, we're saying x is less than. Now, if I had a graph that looked like this, okay, what is my inequality? Well, it's got negative 1 is my circle, and it's included, and x is where? It's to the right. My arrow is to the right, so x is going to be to the right, so x is greater. So x is greater than or equal to negative 1. Okay?